Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm ForClassic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in here is Yakuza 5 Remastered, the last game from the trilogy from Yakuza that we have been receiving lately on the PC. So it is developed by the same developers as the previous games, which is Ryogo Gotoku Studio, and it was also ported to the PC thanks to the keylog. So it is using the same, not exactly the same, but it is using an in-house engine, but there are some very big noticeable differences in graphics quality between Yakuza 5 Remastered and Yakuza 3 and 4 Remastered. So I have gone investigating a little bit of what the hell they changed, and apparently Yakuza 5 uses a different engine than Yakuza 3 and Yakuza 4. So it is way different. But what really surprised me the most is, despite this improvement in visuals and graphics fidelity and animations, the game it is not really more demanding at all. So let's see in here. So I'm running this on my Intel UHD 620 using dual channel memory, and I'm running the game at 720p using an FPS cap of 30 frames per second and dynamic resolution. And my recommendation it is for you to use texture quality on high, anisotropic filtering at 4, and the rest I'm using the median settings, and I'm not using ambient occlusion. So looking to the requirements, there are no specifications in here for any Intel GPU. So any person that look at this will assume that this game won't be playable on any Intel graphic card. Although that's not entirely the case for this game. So whatever, if you go with low settings, median settings at 720p, or even my custom settings which applies the textures on high quality and shadows and level of details at median, whatever these settings you are going for, what you will get it is an experience above 30 frames per second, which is perfectly playable for this game. Although if you go with the high settings, you can expect the game to drop below 30 frames per second. So now you might ask yourself, why the hell did I decide to lock the game at 30 frames per second? So this is because Yakuza 5 Remastered doesn't support frame skipping. So what this means is that, for example, if you target a game to have 60 frames per second, there is an option in there which you can select between 30 or 60. So if you select 60 and you drop to 55 frames per second, for example, which is pretty acceptable in any game out there, for this game, if you have 55 frames per second and when you have the game configured to 60, you will have slowdowns and massive slow motion stuff going on. So that's why I do recommend you to have a 30 frames per second lock, because we are not really able to have a 60 frames per second lock in this game. You can have 60 on 720p low settings, but there are some more demanding areas and the game eventually will drop from those 60s. So my recommendation it is just to use our median settings or just use my custom settings. Again, texture quality on high, anisotropic at 4, shadows and level of details at median, and no ambient occlusion. If you use these settings and if you lock the game at 30 frames per second and you do use 720p resolution, your game will perform just as it should. It will be perfect and it will be playable from beginning to the end. And you will have a very, very nice experience with this game, in my perfect opinion. And as you can see, the game looks pretty good and it is running just fine. So after testing all this trilogy since Yakuza 3, 4 and 5, all I can say is that you can rest just fine, because you can play Yakuza 3, 4 and 5 on your Intel UHD 620, so you can go ahead and buy all the titles if you want, or you can subscribe to Xbox Game Pass and have access to those games. So perfect stuff for people with low-end graphic cards. You can simply run them just fine. Just make sure you have a gamepad, because this game clearly needs one in order for you to have a very, very nice experience. So that's all that I want to talk about the performance and the game itself. Yeah, let's talk now a little bit more about the game, shall we? So what can I say? I haven't played really that much the game, so I can't really comment how better or worse it is. I just made a small search, a really small search of Yakuza 5, and they say that from this trilogy that was remastered, the Yakuza 3 and Yakuza 4, Yakuza 5 it is definitely the best. So Ryoga Gotoku really took their route for the better. So Yakuza 3 it was the worst, Yakuza 4 it did improve slightly, but the difference it was just 1 year between each title. This one, comparing to the release date of Yakuza 4, it is nearly 3 years, because Yakuza 4 it was released in March of 2010, while this one it was released in December 2012. What did I say? Yakuza 4 it was in 2010 March, and Yakuza 5 it was on December 2012. Alright, so that's the difference between it sounds like it is 2 years, but it is a 3-year difference, a new engine. So yeah, many stuff did change with Yakuza 5 regarding technology, and I believe that is because of the time they did spend developing this game, comparing from Yakuza 3 and 4, which looks mostly the same. There are improvements in the combat, there are improvements in visuals, but there are small differences. While Yakuza 5, the differences are just awesomely for the best. And I'm not just talking about graphics, I'm talking about responsiveness in combat. Even the combat feels so much better. There are even missions in here where you need to drive cars, which is what I'm going to show you. It is insane. These guys just put so much stuff into this game, which I seriously, I can't take this seriously, because all these mini games are just ridiculous. But this is what Yakuza is. It is ridiculous. It is goofy, but it just addicts me for some reason. I think it is just fun. It's pure fun, and it is easy. It is very easy to lose in here a couple of hours just beating guys, or just doing this some sort of mini games, which this studio it is very well known for knowing how to put this kind of stuff inside their games. So it's just awesome. It is the most refined Yakuza game from the trilogy, and yeah, how can I not recommend this if you did enjoy Yakuza 3 or Yakuza 4? So it's available for the PC. It does look good. It might look a little bit dated in some aspects, like facial animation, sometimes some textures, although many of the textures are very high quality. It's just some small textures here and there, but it does look really good for an old game. It is very revamped comparing to the predecessor titles, and for many users this is their best game. So guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Yakuza 5. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
到着しました。はい。はい。はい。楽しくドライブと行こうぜ。いいレースだったぜ。
何